Welcome to the Gaming Casuals Podcast, your source for all things gaming from a casual perspective. We are your hosts, John and Brandon.
Hello!
And we have got a special guest for us today. We have got Joel, Dollarman546 here with us today. We are going to be reviewing the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare game, and Dollarman546 over here is a Call of Duty prodigy. And we are excited to have him to help us review this game and decide whether you should buy Call of Duty or not. If you want to find Joel's content, you can find him on YouTube and Instagram and Mixer. He broadcasts Call of Duty gameplay right now, and it is some phenomenal stuff. We'll plug some of his stuff here in the comments and in the bio. We'll also plug his actual footage during our PvP section of the review. With that, let us begin. So, Call of Duty came out October 25th, 24th for those of us who pre-ordered digitally.
Yes.
Praise him.
So, we have got, this is the first Call of Duty Modern Warfare game since the remaster of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. So, a little confusing here, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare is developed by Infinity Ward, our golden goose of Call of Duty games. We haven't had a Call of Duty this good, I guess, since Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, in my humble opinion, and we are so excited to be reviewing it. But let's talk about the game. Let's dive right in. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, should you buy it? The narrative. Okay, so a big thing about Call of Duty games is the narrative, how the game is played out in story. What do we think? Go.
I personally really like the campaign so far. I've only gotten about halfway, I think, but I really love the different vignettes. The different missions right now have a lot of different scenarios, different locations. I thought that first time that the campaign started, that first mission, it just felt very cinematic. I really enjoyed that mission. I loved the different elements of, I think the third mission, you're trying to blend in with a lot of the locals, so you don't want to have your gun out or else you'll get shot immediately. There was a level later on after that where you're trying to infiltrate a house, and it's all very stealth. You're following Captain Price, which I know we'll talk about later. He's back.
He's back, guys. He's
yes,
back.
You're following him, trying to go through this building and take him out as quietly and as minimal
footprint.
As possible. It's really fun, and I think there's like an achievement to it too as well, which I of course love achievements. So I've really enjoyed it. Again, I can't really say to the whole narrative because I've only gotten about halfway, but everything so far that I've played, I've really enjoyed.
So I think Call of Duty and I think Activision had a lot riding on the fact that, the narrative is such a huge part of the Call of Duty franchise. We've seen where games have omitted a major campaign. Yes. We've seen that mistake happen, and so having a Call of Duty Modern Warfare campaign is you have to have one. Yeah. And so Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, I remember very vividly many, many years ago playing through Gillies in the Mist, one of the best stealth ops campaign missions in a game ever made. And I remember very vividly Captain Price's, lit stogie, just like on a helicopter in the rain before a major ops mission. Like, it's just been a huge part of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare franchise, and I am been super impressed so far with this new game's campaign. I love the narrative. I think the graphics are phenomenal. Yes. You jump right into a major storyline, and it's like, wow, like they went like hard. They are back in it. This game is here to win, and I'm super stoked about it. And so that being said, a big part of Call of Duty, obviously is the gunplay, and I think we've seen a lot of iterations of Call of Duty where the gunplay was different. This game is back to the boots on the ground. We don't have any jetpacks or double jumps kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I want to ask Master Joel over here, like, as far as gunplay is concerned, what have you enjoyed, and what have they brought in as a fresh take on this franchise?
I wouldn't say a master, but thank you. So as far as like gunplay goes, like it's a lot more unforgiving, I would say, in this one, in a sense that like you can turn a corner, get shot twice, and you're actually dead, and you're not jump shotting out of your way or boosting out of the way just to get into another part of the map, which I think is really nice. It's back to the more mechanical aspects of Call of Duty that I've come to love. And as far as the gunplay goes, I really enjoy it for sure.
Excellent. So I know that for me, like, there's so many guns and weapons in Call of Duty. Like, it's just hard to keep track of them all. But a favorite part I've seen is, even in the campaign missions, being able to run around the map, take an oil can filter out of an automobile and use it as a suppressor for your gun. Or, like, I remember grabbing a shotgun and being like, man, I really wish I had a red dot sight on this shotgun, and then finding a red dot sight, like, hidden in a corner, and just pick it up and, like, snap it on, and, like, I have a red dot sight on my shotgun now. And so I think the gunplay is phenomenal. It's a ton of fun. And I think that Call of Duty really brings gunplay to the forefront of their strategy for marketing this game, and it hasn't disappointed. You know, I feel like it's just like it's super fluid, super nice, and there's so many guns, there's so many different options of gameplay. You really have a lot of options as far as that's concerned.
I really like, and that's the thing too, about so many guns. I've only scratched the surface on that with multiplayer, which I know we'll talk about in a second here, but the different choices you have. I think when I first started, the default loadout, the gun was fine. I enjoyed it. It was something that I got a couple kills here and there, which I was really excited about because I haven't played a Call of Duty game since, I think, Advanced Warfare, which was a while back. But once you find that gun you really like, and you start unlocking attachments, like you said, the scopes, the suppressors, the stocks, all these things you can do to the guns, that was where it really shined. I really enjoyed that, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm only like level 15 now, so I haven't gotten too far in multiplayer, but there's so much you can unlock and so much you can do with the guns. So
absolutely, and I think that's a good segue into the PvP element of a Call of Duty game, and obviously PvP is another huge cog in the Call of Duty wheel.
Yeah.
And so, Joel, let us know what you think. I know that you've been playing Call of Duty way longer than any of us have. Yes. You have been one of those guys to play a Call of Duty game every year. And so what do you think of the PvP element of Call of Duty, and how does it bring a fresh take on the franchise as a whole?
Yeah, I think they're really almost like redesigning multiplayer for the Call of Duty franchise from the ground up. Like, there's some elements where you feel like, is this Battlefield, is this Call of Duty? But I feel like they're rebranding it and making it their own thing this time around, which is really awesome. You still have your level progression system, you still have your perks, you still have your guns and their attachments. But one of the cool things that they're actually doing now is like attachments that affect the stability of your gun, or the speed of like how fast you go from like sprinting into firing is now part of the gun. It's not relying on a perk specifically. Perks that affect your character only stay with your character. They also have these like field upgrades, I think as they call them, where like essentially after a certain amount of time, like in past iterations of Call of Duty, you pull out like a giant bazooka and blow somebody's face off. You now just maybe have like dead silent, or you can pull out like an ammo crate and resupply for your entire team, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so from, obviously I haven't played a Call of Duty since, Modern Warfare 3, but for someone getting into Call of Duty maybe for the first time, getting into that Call of Duty multiplayer experience, is there an easy way for a person playing the Call of Duty game to get, used to this new mechanic? And is it going to be hard for them to catch up to, say, a more veteran player who's been playing it for a while?
I think to an extent, yes, because going back to like that kind of feeling of it not being as forgiving, like if you get shot twice, you're pretty much going to be dead. In past iterations of Call of Duty, you have these health bars, you have these abilities to like, run on walls and stuff like that to get out of like these pretty intense situations. But, if you turn the corner and someone shoots you with a shotgun or a pistol, you're likely going to be dead. And so I would just basically just tell the people that are kind of getting into the franchise, take it easy, check your corners for sure, and just give it time, because it takes a lot of time to get used to, for sure.
Don't play like me, the epitome of casual, where I just run in and go, "Hey guys," and try and shoot everything. That's where my KD ratio is tanked. And, you can't do that.
Speaking of casual, I've literally seen people like running across the map, aiming in the sky. So there are multiple levels of casual for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as far as Joel, back to you regarding the whole PvP experience. Obviously, every first-person shooter has a meta, kind of what everybody's doing, how the atmosphere of the game is moving, how the gameplay is happening. What would you say is the current meta going on, and where do you see it evolving down the road as Call of Duty gets more well-known over the course of the next couple of weeks?
I definitely would say the meta right now is how fast can I get from hip fire into like shooting. So essentially those guns you'll be relying on heavily are like the MP5 or like the M4, because the attachments that you get as you progress those weapons make those weapons a lot more deadlier down the pipeline. I don't really know entirely where that's going to go, because they also balance it out for the weapons that shoot a lot slower or snap a lot slower. You can take them out with like one clean headshot if you're lucky enough. So there's a lot of balancing for people who are faster paced, or some people who wanted to kind of take their time with the map. So yeah, I think they do a really good job with that for sure.
Nice.
So we're going to go into a little bit about, the revenue streams part of the Call of Duty. Now, they have made some major changes. Activision's made some major changes with how content is procured, what kind of microtransactions they are. Joel, can you give us the broad overview of what microtransactions look like and DLC looks like in this new Call of Duty game?
Yes. So essentially, I think Activision as a whole has just gotten this just bad rep for microtransactions.
They've learned from Destiny.
They've
too,
learned
probably.
a lot, and it's unfortunately taken them so many games to kind of milk the community from to finally realize, oh, actually they might not want supply drops to earn a gun, or they might not want microtransactions just for this one thing. So what they've done this time around is whether you've bought just the original or the maximum like digital package that you can get, all the DLC is free, all the guns are free, they're unlockable, they're either going to be purchasable, but they're not going to be locked into a supply crate, which is amazing.
That's cool.
Essentially, what kind of happened was Sony and Activision got together. They worked out a deal where there's not any exclusivity. All the content comes out at the exact same time, whether you're on PC, Xbox, or PS4, which
really
is
nice.
amazing.
Yes.
Essentially, too, because like if they're rolling out with cross-platform play, they kind of have to have that sense of fluidity. I feel like with releasing content at the same time. The one thing that is exclusive to the Sony platform is the survival mode. That's only for a year until October of next year. That's kind of the deal that they worked out.
That is a very interesting thing too, by the way. Just a year of exclusivity and it's one part of the game. I don't know anything about that part of the game, but just hearing a year of exclusivity for a Call of Duty game, which is an annual release, that just seems a little odd, because I know that some people who, like, I'm an Xbox guy, I play on Xbox, I'm sure the PC people would also feel a little bit rubbed raw because of the fact that they're paying the same price for this same game that PlayStation players can have as well, but they don't get to play for an entire year. Is that something that the community? I don't know. I don't have my ear to the ground. Is the community kind of? Do they care about that, or is it something that
I honestly haven't heard a lot of backlash?
Okay.
Being an Xbox primarily player, I honestly am okay with the trade-off, because if you think about it, Sony platforms, or like in the past, Xbox has always gotten the DLC first. They've gotten all the exclusivity first, and so they've kind of traded with Sony. And so now that it's kind of back on even playing grounds, and if it's just for one mode, I think I'm okay with that.
Maybe that mode's terrible. Who knows?
Yeah,
who won't know, because
I will say,
next year we'll play something else.
Survival itself, if you've played Modern Warfare 3, is very much like that survival mode. So you're
Gotcha.
just taking on waves of enemies, and you eventually get progressively harder. I don't know entirely to what extent, because I haven't played it. But yeah, I think I'm okay with the trade-off for sure.
Sounds good. I do like free DLC. That is nice.
No, who doesn't like the DLC? So I think the last segment we want to go through regarding the review is, let's talk about some of the cons with Call of Duty. I know that Xbox One X has had some problems with Call of Duty.
Yes.
But I think just to start off, just so you guys know, if you buy Call of Duty digitally, even if you buy the physical copy of the game disc, it is going to be a very, very large download. We're talking over 100 gigs of data for all these different things you can get with Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I found that it took me on my standard internet connection through Comcast, it took me like about 2.5 hours to download the entirety of the content. Not that you can't play and get started with the content before it's all downloaded, but it definitely was a huge pull on my hard drive, and you definitely want a hard drive that's going to handle that amount of texture. So I would say if you're running off of a revolving hard disk, 5400 RPM, you are going to load it's going to be so slow. So have a solid state drive, some kind of USB 3.0 drive, if you want to be able to play the content in a timely way. What are some other cons you guys would say regarding the Call of Duty?
Well, I want to touch on that as well, the file size. One thing that is nice that they have done this time around, which I don't know, it seems like you can. The game is downloaded, and I think it's like 127 gigs or so from what I looked at. But they do have it split up into like 5 packs, five things. You get the main game, and then you have like multiplayer pack. You have campaign pack 1, campaign pack 2, and then like survival or the ops. Spec Ops. And I'm assuming, and I don't know because I haven't done this yet, but I'm assuming if you play the campaign, you've done it, you've experienced it, you enjoyed it, but you're done with it. You could theoretically delete those packs to free up space and still have the multiplayer and spec ops or special ops modes. Is that correct? Do you guys know that, or
has not been tested?
Okay, I feel like that's something I've read somewhere, but if that is true, that's awesome how they have that, because they had the foresight of going, this game is going to be very large for most people that don't have a 1 terabyte or more drive. So if that's the case, that's awesome. So.
Absolutely.
What other cons do we think
Yeah, I gotta admit, from an Xbox standpoint, the launch was very rocky. So I got the Operator Edition, which is like, you get 3,000 COD points, you get like extra like guns unlocked or something like that from the get go, and none of that was available. And like I'm still waiting on that, and still waiting to hear back from Activision as to when they're gonna fix that. They know it's a known issue. Also, too, one thing that's plaguing Xbox One X owners, and I've started noticing this a lot more frequently, is it will just overclock your Xbox and cause it to crash and turn off, which is a very glaring issue.
How many times have you had your GPU just shut down in the middle of a multiplayer game?
About 4 or 5 times so far.
Wow, that is a lot.
Now you've
Another friend of mine. Now, granted, I played an unholy amount of Call of Duty. Level 47.
Yeah.
So.
I've only played like maybe, I would say between 2 different days, like 5 hours or so. Yep. It happened to me once. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know about this issue. My game kind of locked up, and it literally kicked me all the way. My Xbox shut off completely. I thought, what's going on? I can't even turn it back on unless I go and hard reset the Xbox. And that was kind of confusing. And I thought, well, maybe it was just me. Then it happened to one of my buddies about, 15 minutes later. And then another guy that jumped on about an hour after that, same thing happened to him, and it was almost like you see him disconnect from the party, like,
tandem,
oh no, yeah. So, and we all did have Xbox.
The Xbox One S was still going strong.
That's right.
So hopefully they work those issues out, and I'm hoping that I don't experience that again. Like 4 or 5 times is frustrating. It is,
yeah. And I had another friend of mine who had it, I think, 10 to 15 times.
Oh my
the span of the weekend, and essentially we noticed it happening a lot more on Ground War. I don't know if there's something just breaking that, because it is a lot more intensive. It is 32v32, so
I may have been playing that mode when that happened, actually.
Probably
so
were.
that makes sense now. But hopefully they fix that, iron all those details out, those bugs, because it is a fun game. I really
amazing.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the final score for the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare title. We'll go left to right, okay? I want to hear, like, essentially, would you buy it for the full price, $60? Would you buy it for, the extended price for all the extra content? And what rating on a scale of 1 to 10 would you give the game?
I would definitely buy it for the base price of $60. Yes. Would I buy it for the other 2 prices with the experience that I've had? I wouldn't, just because I still haven't gotten my content. Now, some people have gotten their content, and that's awesome. But the fact that like it's rolled out and we're a couple days past and they still haven't figured out what's causing this issue, it's a little frustrating. So personally, I wouldn't. But I would say my overall score with the experience as the game so far, minus the issues like with the Xbox One X crashing, I'd probably give it about an 8 or 9 out of 10.
That's a great score. All right, you heard it from Joel, 8 or 9 out of 10. So for me personally, obviously not being a huge Call of Duty fan, I think the game is just really, really great as far as a harken back to Call of Duty of yore. So if you're a passionate Call of Duty player and you miss the Modern Warfare style of gameplay and you miss that story, I would say totally buy it for $60. I wouldn't go anything above that. But if you're not a Call of Duty, if you're a Call of Duty casual and you're just not like, I like Call of Duty, but not enough to like really just grind it out, I would say wait until Christmas when it goes down in price eventually. You're going to get that holiday deal, find it for $40 on a physical copy, like you'll be just fine. I would say, though, if you're picking up a game and I would give it a rating on a 1 out of 10, I would totally give it an 8.5. Like, this game is worth your time if you like Call of Duty. So,
well, it sounds like our reviews are going to be very similar because I too, it is a game that I would definitely purchase for the $60. It's especially with a Call of Duty game. For me, I enjoy playing the multiplayer with friends. The campaign, I'm a campaign story mode guy, so I think that campaign is a blast. But the longevity, the replayability of the game is in multiplayer. And yes, playing by yourself with a bunch of random blueberries or whoever in that game is fun. But when I find that I play with other people, with friends, it's way better. And so that's the one thing, is if you wait too long, some people might jump to other games. So for me, I would just get it towards the beginning if you can. I'm the same with you guys, probably wouldn't spend the money on the special editions. I did not. I don't know what you get, honestly, besides some of the
COD points and
COD points and all that stuff you mentioned. And for me, especially if you can unlock those things, the different weapons, all that stuff, if you can unlock it through playing, I prefer that anyway. I'm kind of one of those guys with that whole battle pass thing, where if I can unlock it in the game and don't have to spend any extra money, I'm going to do that because I'm cheap. But again, it's something that I think for the ability to play with my friends in the moment they're playing it, I would spend that extra money, or I would spend the money at a full price game for that. As far as my score there, I'm probably going to give it an 8.5 as well, because it is the production value is awesome. I do enjoy that. I think that again, all those story beats so far that I've played have been a blast. I think I will get a lot of longevity out of that multiplayer grind. The whole unlocking, the ranking up system is fun, especially for someone who likes to collect all these attachments and everything. So I do think that's going to give me some more replayability there. But I think the game is a blast. I'm excited that I'm playing a Call of Duty game again after so long.
We all are.
It's
we
fun.
all are. An actual Call of Duty game. Well, you heard it first from us here, folks. We are giving Call of Duty great scores across the board. Check it out if you will. We thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the Gaming Casuals. Hit that notification bell to let you know when all of our great content gets released on the weekly. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever podcasts are given out, because we can't sell podcasts apparently, so the cliche doesn't work. Guys, and you are not going to want to miss Dollarman546. Thank you so much for coming out and giving us your review of Call of Duty.
Appreciate it.
You can find him on Mixer, YouTube, and Instagram, and be sure to check out his socials in the description. He's a great guy. You don't want to miss any of his content. And once again, thanks for tuning in, and as usual, stay casual.
See ya.
Bye.